Good afternoon, everybody. And since I just started, I'm going to wait and talk when it's exactly 4 o'clock and people start coming in. So it is, can't really tell from camera angle, but hey, it's kind of raining here again. Had a very wet and slightly coolish summer, especially at the end. So hopefully we'll have a nice fall here. But it is indeed raining. And for whatever reason, even though my internet connection is underground, I've got a really bad connection. So we'll see what happens. In terms of the stream, the last one I did didn't go very well. I had multiple interruptions. Hopefully not. That won't happen again. Marcus, don't know yet. Hopefully soon. We're waiting. What I've been telling people, what I've been telling people is that I am going to wait until after Labor Day and see just how the cases go. And if it doesn't go crazy here, then we're going to start to let some people go back in the office in shifts, including me. So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't be horrific. Unfortunately, based on all the stuff I've been seeing, what people are doing already, I'm not terribly confident. So, yeah, that's it. Wait for some more folks to come in, and then I'll start doing, let's see, what are we at? So top 28 today. So a whole bunch of things to talk about, including what we did over the weekend. Couple more minutes. Hope everyone who's here is had a good, good few weeks since my last update. Had a good month overall, and is getting ready for the fall. Depending on obviously where you are. So in terms of the top 28 again for people just coming in. I want to wait a few more minutes, let some additional folks come in, and then start to chat. Hey, Travail. Yeah, we a very good month, and you know it better than anyone. One of the things I'm going to talk about, in the update, and certainly put a link to that sort of awesome structure you built. Can't call it a building, far more than that. It was really cool. If you folks haven't seen Trivial's latest work, hey, you should. It is awesome. It's one of the best things I've seen in Cube, easily. And I don't even want to start ranking them, but it looks really good, really darn good. So as you can see from the title of today's update, it's really about progression, it's about persistence, it's about performance. And so I'm going to be talking about all those things. But first, for those who are just coming in or who weren't here for the weekend, 24x3 server. It worked. Beautiful. No problems. If you hadn't heard the reason that it didn't work the last time, it was because Windows Update. Now, we had thought we had gone through and taken care of all the updates on the instances that we created. And we did. Unfortunately, GCP had its own update system that ignored what you wrote on the box. And so, unfortunately, the machines updated. GCP told the machines to update even though we told them not to. So otherwise, I am sure the servers would have worked just fine, the week before. But yeah, 24/3 worked great. Yay! So that was really good. We're really happy about that. Obviously, we're going to continue. Yeah, Strike, we did tell Windows when to update. We told it not to update. GCP, which controls, obviously, its own cloud, it told the machines to update and overrode us. So, yeah, we didn't know that was a thing because we've never had to worry about it. We've always had the servers up for a shorter time, and these were the first time when we started 24/3 that we wanted the servers up all weekend. So that was amusing. But hey, because that was it. We didn't do anything else, to make that happen other than tell GCP stop updating the servers, please. So yeah, 24/3 looking good. So very, very happy. So let's get to the top. Let's get to the top 28-ish for today. Number 1, work in progress. Tech design, Dragon's Web. Christina has been working on the back-end code for the Dragon's Web. We now have a functional web where the various placed items are aware of each other and can transmit or disrupt power, across the zone. Actually, it said care transmit. We transmit because we care. Let me fix that. The web has been integrated with the Overmind and the ability, systems. Old headphones, Bughole, old. I love Bose. I got introduced to Bose back in the old Mythic days, and I have some headphones from one set, I think, maybe left from the old Mythic days. But I've had these forever. They don't make them anymore. I love them. But the web has been integrated with Overmind and the ability system. This means that these systems can read information about the web and affect the way the web works. And, functional items for the Dragon's Web have been created, including, so this will give you a clue to what we're going to talk about in the presentation, hearts, disruptors, transmitters, spawn points, health pools, with many more items designed and planned for the future. So yeah, so this is coming in. Hey to France. This is coming in as fast as the engineers can get it in. So you'll be seeing it play a part in the game real soon now. And I mean, an important part of the game, as well as you're going to have a presentation this month from us on it. As I said, I've been waiting until it actually works before I did the presentation because, frankly, after waiting as long as so many of you patient people have, for this game, or in some cases as well, the refunds, to touch on, obviously a topic that some of you are concerned about, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing a presentation for something that's not running. That's what you do when you're not as late as we are. So, once all this is up and running, we'll do a full presentation on it before we actually make it, live. Number 2, work in progress, tech giants. Anthony continued work on our 3 giant races and has completed almost all of the first pass of their traits and abilities. Done, tech, NPC behavior stack upgrades. NPCs can now use a designer configured stack to give NPCs specific priorities to fulfill. This allows for a Lego-type build of an NPC behavior, as well as making it easier to develop new behaviors by making smaller trees. So, very simply, we're making NPCs smarter, more interesting, and they're coming to the game right now. I just saw the message from Strike. I'm blurry. Am I blurry, everybody? I'll wait for a response. Not that I have any idea what I can do while I'm streaming on Restream. No idea. Let's see. Wonder if it could it. No, that wasn't it. I wonder if it could be because we're in the middle of a storm and whatever. But yeah, sorry about that. Same camera, same me. Haven't touched the settings, so I have no idea, what's going on. But it is a kind of blurry day. He also prefers CRT monitors. Okay, number 4. Done. Tech. Siege engines. NPC. Siege engine NPC behavior upgrades. Spidey used his new behavior stack system to upgrade the Siege NPCs. Their first priority is to still find and use Siege engines, but when none are available, they will now take actions and attack with their equipped weapons. Once again, all about giving you folks stuff that you'll need to defend keeps, to defend your homes, NPCs that are actually useful. Number 5, work in progress, tech. NPC line of sight upgrades. Spidey used his new behavior stocks. That's the same line again. Oh, okay. Sorry, one off. Hang on, I'm going to switch this to the main because it's just easier that way. Siege engine NPC behavior upgrade. Spidey used, no, once again, Colin is wrapping up a new physics system that will efficiently check line of sight between any entity and deliver the state to the NPC server. Spidey is integrating with this by writing new priority options to the NPC targeting. So, finally, line of sight upgrades. This is something you guys have been asking for. This is something that we know we needed to do, and there it is. Done. Tech. Time of day. Christina moved our time of day code down into the physics system, allowing this feature to be accessed by new parts of the code. So in other words, we can use Overmind, and Overmind can use it. Time of day is kind of sort of important for this game. We've said right from the beginning that we were going to do the whole time moves, time passes. It can be light, it can be dark. And so we're doing stuff with that. Think of that as the first step, or one of the steps with Veil Storms as well. Number 7, done. Tech. Keep champion NPC. Anthony set up the new Keep champion NPCs. They will be added to the battleground scenario in the near future. Number 8, work in progress. Tech. Upgraded item restrictions. Judd added restrictions for equipping an item or using a siege engine. That needs a little bit better writing. For equipping an item or using a siege engine that can now maybe be found on the items tooltip. Who completed a style pass on the item interaction menu. 9, done. Tech. Bug fix for the GQL subscription timeout. So what would happen is if you had a really bad connection, which means obviously bad latency, bad lag, you could have an issue. You could get knocked out of the game. It could affect war bands. It could affect item trading. So we believe that is now fixed. Number 10, done. Tech. Bug fix for torch flicker. Wiley fixed an issue that caused the torches in the battleground keeps to flicker at night. 11, work in progress. Tech art. Upgraded CU traps. Christina added all the required VF hooks for the various item traps. Cross is working through creating the VFXs now. Hydrate. Done. Tech. Upgraded cube release. Cube is back. We've released a new cube build that is available to all backers. There are some compatibility issues with legacy cube builds, but you can still bring your legacy cube builds forward by using an import tool that we've added to Cube. So welcome back, Cube. 13, work in progress, tech, pathfinding. Mike D and Lee are working quickly to finish the first release of the new improved pathfinding system that is now working in most cases for arbitrary world geometry, including user-made constructions. So yes, we have now pathfinding working well in complex organic forest environments, as long as multi-level castles with stairs, tight turns, and narrow corridors. It took a while, folks, but yeah, it's there. It's working really nicely, not 100%, but way better than it was before. Way better. Number 14, done. Tech and art, rendering improvement fixes. So, this is one of the things, and this is just one of the items that we'll cover that are in that same category. We've been spending a lot of time working on performance. And a lot of it has been geared, for example, to AMD. And I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Let me get back to that. So we've been spending a lot of time streaming. Jesus. Sorry. We've been spending a lot of time working on performance. We've been spending a ton of time, especially on AMD cards. Andrew, George, and Wiley have been trying a lot of different things. We've improved the performance. We're trying to identify where the issues, are specifically. We found quite a few that are absolutely AMD related. So we are working on them. And so this is going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, it's always an ongoing thing with every game. You certainly have to continue to optimize your engine right up to release, and then you don't stop. So we've been spending a lot of time on that. We've made some absolutely great improvements, and it's just going to be something you're going to hear from now on. And especially as we get closer to launch, we're going to continue to spend the same amount of time. This is not something that I'm using as an excuse to hold up launch. It's something we're doing, as an ongoing thing. It's not like Linuxification. So we modified how the lighting works to remove the wet effect that sometimes showed up in shadows. So for those who don't know what that means, I know it sounds obvious, and it is, but in case you haven't actually been in, if you go into certain areas, it looks like, the ceiling collapsed and there's a bunch of water on the ground. So we have improved that. Number 15, improving server stability. So we've been running the 24/3 test recently, and part of that is, of course, finding and fixing issues related, to long uptimes on the servers. We fix things on the operations side and on the code side. So once again, it's all part of our plan, to have a server up 24/3. To have it up then 24/7. Maybe not all month, because if, people aren't playing it a lot, or that we want to just take it down or let the servers cool off and save the expense. But it's about being sure that we're in great shape to launch. So you're going to see more of this as we go forward, and progress from 24/3 to 24/7. Work in progress, number 16, tech, continuous integration improvements. So that's some engineer speak. We use an automated system to build and deploy our code after an engineer or designer makes a change. For the better part of a year, so whoever wrote this then said, since Linuxification, and put a trademark by it, which is fantastic. That wasn't me. That's really funny. There's been an issue that would randomly and frequently cause builds to fail. We finally found and fixed this issue, which means faster and more reliable builds. Whoever wrote that, whoever trademarked it, well done. Number 17, done. Art, devout ability, network icons, images. So DANII. Updated art has been added to the devout and support class skill builder UIs. Number 18, done. Art, Overmind's message style. Ku completed an art pass on the message pop-ups that can be seen in the battleground scenario. So one thing about Overmind, of course, that it can communicate with the players, and so we just want to have the messages come out and actually look decent, and also so they have the style depending on what the messages are about. Number 19, done. Art Keeplord animation. Tuatha Keeplord was having some editor importing issues, so we're working on getting that fixed up and into the engine. Then why is that done? So I will put that to a work in progress. And if it's done, then it should be done, but then we wouldn't still be working on it. Work in progress, Art Giants. Back to the topic of our friends, the Giants. Art has been busy. The animation team has been working on rigging and retargeting animations, and modeling has been bringing giant armor up to speed with some custom tailored armor to fit the Giants' distinct forms. Number 21, work in progress, Art Spirit Mages. Heavy concept art has been moving along for these Spirit Mages after a lot of exciting concept exploration of the Viking Slaughter Wolf. We have narrowed down concept designs and are currently moving along with concepts for the TDD Morgan class and, its spirit summons. So, yeah. And I just read a story about, the Slaughter Wolf. I mean, somebody had to write it. It wasn't me. You will see that one soon, I hope. I just have to get around and make comments on it. Yes, no, I did not read it. Well, I read it, but I didn't write it. Work in progress, art, terrain, trees, fixes, area around buildings, various fixes reported, including added land bridges, home island signs. Bunch of stuff under that. I will cut it short because we still got a bunch more to talk about. 23, work in progress, art, battleground map development. Preparations are being made in the battleground map topography for incoming points of interest based on concept passes of the RVR map. Now, keep in mind, points of interest, not the same things as points of power. Points of power. In addition to that, unique shipwreck assets, which include new realm ships, to add to our inventory, are in production as the first POW. Yeah. Point of interest. You've seen mention of the Dragon's Web. Sorry, I'm editing as I go. Of the Dragon's Web, and we are dipping our toes into design and early concept development. Number 24, art, cube doors. Builders will be happy to know that an initial selection of the updated realm-themed doors will soon be implemented for use. Currently, we are on the final checks of made models, and there they will soon be in the BPO library for use. Number 25, work in progress. Art, VFX and gameplay, crafter traps. VFX has been hard at work alongside the gameplay team and have implemented traps. VFX, continues to refine and replace any current stand in VFX. Number 26, work in progress, art, VFX, various fixes to existing assets and devout abilities and devout ability work, such as, I'll clean that up, as Abbot Radiant abilities and Blessed Crow Cauldron effects. Number 27, work in progress, art, animation. Continued work on animation fidgets and emote is underway, some of which are giant retargeting, among other racial movements. So the giants look like they belong. Number 28, last, and this one is mine, biz, hiring. Reinforcements are on the way to CSE. I've spent a lot of the last few weeks doing team reviews, recruiting, and the overall hiring process. We'll be adding some new internal people in September, starting tomorrow, actually, and hopefully some contractors to fill out some of the needs for CU. Again, CU. UI is a big need. So yeah, that's an item that I think you all should be pretty happy about. We're getting more people into the studio, again, starting tomorrow. And I've been in touch with an outsourcing firm so we can get some UI engineers in to replace the UI guy who left us, a little while back. So, we are trying to, do what we can to speed it up. And thanks to the investors, we have the backing to do so. So hopefully within the next 30 days, if they get through our vetting process, we'll have at least one or two more, engineers just from them to join the team. And we're still looking for more. We also are looking for a senior producer. And by senior producer, I mean somebody who ship games under their title and lots of knowledge, because we are really, really trying to continue to speed up CU. So that's where we're at. Again, it was an overall great month for us. Got a lot done. 24/3 servers working, again, other than Windows Update. And even then, they worked this last weekend, have been working great. So we're really pleased, with that. And, we'll just have to sit around and, hope that we have another good month in September. And hopefully, by sit around, I mean in the office. I really, really want to get back to the office. I love it here, but I really want to go back to the office. So yeah, that's it. Again, our work this week is going to be heavily focused on continued on performance. Crypt Keeper, our goal is 24/3 every weekend from now on. That's what we hope. Now, if we, obviously don't have, a good build, we're not going to necessarily put it up. Certainly, we've been putting up the unstable builds, and, we'll see what happens. Certainly, last weekend was good. Yeah, Crypt Keeper, you should join us, hopefully this coming weekend. Like I said, one of our big things is performance. We need, to fix the issues with AMD. We're continuing just to look for anything in the general rendering code that, can be off. We've made some improvements, but nothing huge. Like we haven't gone from, 30 frames a second to 90 frames a second. But we've had nice improvements, with AMD, but still not quite to where they need to be. And in case anyone is thinking, because I know there's at least a couple of you are thinking, oh, that's for Ragnarok. Actually, it isn't. Ragnarok runs great in AMD. It's a much simpler game. It has fewer, polys. It has less demand on both the GPU and CPU. This is a pure, we're doing it for, the CU backers. We have a bunch of AMD folks, and, it's important to us, to get it for you folks. It is not, again, not an issue in Ragnarok. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're excited about the gentleman who is joining us tomorrow, and hopefully he'll be followed by more people. We are certainly doing our best, and again, I'm doing something I haven't done yet, which is work with an outsourcing engineering firm. In the past, even in Mythic, I was reluctant to do that, but it's not good enough to say we're trying to get the game out as quickly as possible. We have to do what it takes, and that includes spending money, and so we are. And that's different. We not the spending money. Obviously, we've been doing that up to make a game, but to do and bring in the outside engineers. With UI, we think they can add, certainly more than what we have now, which is, not 2 full-time UI engineer people, and hopefully we'll be able to bring them in to speed things up. And yeah, that's the big stuff. That's the absolute big stuff for now. So questions, folks? Sorry, I almost went to the wrong one. Sorry. Dark Society Network. Now that Cube is getting some love, round shape still on the agenda. Yeah. We haven't taken it off the agenda. It's just not a focus right now. Walterine, big NVIDIA announcement tomorrow. Any impact anticipated for CPU for CU? I assume it's simply, either a new technology or a new card. Either way, we'll be ready. If it's a technology that we think can help us, we'll use it. If it's a great new card, fantastic. Strike. Can you talk a little bit about the NPC champions you mentioned? Are they special, guards for lords or more captains for the regular guards? I believe they're special guards. This is something I've let Chris work on. I haven't been that involved in that end over the last few weeks. I have been so tied up with the whole performance review for the team, and one-on-ones with the team, and recruiting that, quite frankly, and BizDev and the investors, which is part of BizDev, I have not been able to do a lot of CU, or frankly, even Ragnarok design work. Not in the last few weeks. McCavity, are there enough people playing in the current playtest to warrant pushing for 24/3 and 24/7 uptimes? Oh, absolutely not. But the whole point is, even if we don't have enough right now, the fact is having the servers running, especially when Overmind, is fully operational, is still a great test, because Overmind does things, right? It summons creatures. It works, with the day-night cycle, as we brought in. It's going to be bringing in veil storms. It's going to be sending out messages. No matter what, even if we have less than we would like, the fact is just having the servers run that way is a good first step. Is it what we want? No. But we also know that a lot of people, and this is true, in other, crowdfunded games, that they only have a fraction of the number of people playing that have subscribed. I mean, you have obviously the number one, by far, kickstarted game is Star Citizen. I think last I looked, they had over 1 million backers, but they're not running 1 million servers, or servers for what would be 50 people, 20,000 servers, because they say they can support 50 per. So they're not running it. So I do expect more people to come in. And when they do, we'll play. Josh is anonymous. What parts of the UI are the new UI people going to be working on first? Whatever gameplay needs. It might be crafting. It might not be. That's a decision that I'm going to leave to Christina. Fictitious Man. When will Beta 3 be in sight? Once we get into Beta 2. I'm not trying to be snarky. I really am not. But it's pointless to put out a date for something until we hit the next stage. Sacrix, now that you bring up doors, can you elaborate around self-built structures and what method will be there for capturing with pad to stand on keyboard? How do you plan on managing restrictions with high walls, ladders? Obviously, we're going to try to do it as fantasy realistic as possible. In other words, we certainly want to have ladders. We've talked about that to scale walls. You'll be able to move, scouts will be able to move through, unprotected, areas through walls using the veil. I really want to have, the Luca Panapult to throw people over the walls as well, just as I talked about way back when. In terms of damage and anything like that, it's the same that you see, in buildings right now. Obviously, we'll be adjusting, how much damage a block can take, how much damage a wall can take, and then once the Dragon's Web defenses come into play, there'll be other things that will affect your ability to get through walls. Obviously, you have to get through the defenses as well. So, yeah, we want it to be as, again, fantasy realistic as possible. We want people, just like you can do in Cube right now, or in the game right now, with the Cherry Keep or in our keeps, stand on top of the walls, shoot down at people, have them shoot up at you, vats of oil and all that. So I don't think I don't think you're going to be surprised, Sacrix, by anything we would want to do there. You've played enough of these games, obviously, and I think you know where I'm going with it. Kamish, are there any scenarios in the playtest? So right now, it's all part of the same game. You don't have to hit a scenario button to join it. They're just all part of the process. You just need to go to the place where it's happening. Yeah, Simon Gibbs. Movement speed and syncing animation is a constant tweak and balance process. But have you considered the travel versus combat stances? Yeah, other people have said that. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm quite torn about that. I thought the idea of travel stance way back when was a good idea. It allowed you to move at a higher speed, though you couldn't obviously attack people, but you could be attacked. So I don't know. I mean, I certainly want to get feedback. Hopefully, oh good, I'm back. So I don't know what I missed. Hopefully, it won't be much. Won't have been wrong that I've missed. But that's something I certainly am happy to talk to the community about. I thought travel stance and combat stance was a good idea, but I am absolutely 100% willing to listen to feedback on this. 100%. It's not something I feel strongly about. I thought it was an idea that could work, but nothing that I go, oh my God, that's a foundational principle. So I definitely want to get the community's feedback. Jackie, how do you feel about the current state of the ability builder? I think it's not ready. Obviously not. It's a good effort for what we've done so far, but it's not finished yet. Nowhere near it. Josh is anonymous. Will the LOS improvements have an impact on keyboards attacking through? Yes. Yes, for God's sakes. Yes. Look, that was an issue, obviously, with Dark Age. It's been an issue with other games. Andrew and I have talked about that many times in the past. It will not be an issue in this game. Is it an issue now? Yes. It will be an issue at launch? God, I hope not. I can't engineer the solution myself. Otherwise, I would say, yes, it won't be. But I assume it won't be. I know he feels strongly about that. I know you folks feel strongly about that. And so, I want it to happen. Oh, Bumble. Hey there. Is the RVR Battleground Zone going to get a cool name like Cherry Keep and the Isle of Strife? I would like it to. Crypt Keeper, do you think there will be any more major setbacks? I hope not. I really hope not. The goal is, for example, of the 24x3, to find any major issues now, not later. I mean, even something I know it seems really, really trivial about GCP automatically restarting the servers, even though we told it not to. But that's the sort of thing that's not major, but would have been really friggin' embarrassing. Hey, we're ready to launch. Hey, we launch, everything's going great. And then at midnight, sort of like when the UPS truck parked in front of the door at Mythic, or in front of the window at Mythic, excuse me. So, yeah, look, you can never, ever, ever say, nor should you ever say, oh no, we've got it all covered. No, there won't be another setback. I promise you. Yeah, that's really silly. So, do I think we'll have one? Again, I hope not. We're trying, we are trying to continue to push on things that we think could be a problem, right? Again, 24x3 server. What's going to happen when we let it run for 72 hours? What's going to let it run when it runs for more than that? And, we all know things called memory leaks. We all know things, where stuff gets corrupted. So the longer you can run a server, the longer that people can play on the server, the more likely you are of finding those issues. And so we want to find them now. The 24x3 is not all about, it's not about market. It's not about, ooh, we want to, attract more people. We haven't even posted on our website that, we're doing 24x3. We're doing this so we can, actually let you folks play in the game, which is good. At times that so many of you, the vast majority of you, have said you want to play on, and finding these issues. If we were touting it and going, hey, look at us, we're big boys now, and we're 24/3 and the website was covered by it, yeah, I could rightfully be accused of doing a marketing thing. Now, this is all about finding this stuff and giving you folks a chance to play. 2 for the price of 1. 1, we want to give you obviously a chance to play, and second, we want to find this sometimes silly stuff, and sometimes worse, that you find when you let the servers run. So I think many of you will remember, I've said over the years, I want to have, an internal server in the studio, once we have an in-house studio that we can go to again, which is running 24/7 every day, every week of every month of every year. Where it is just sitting there, even if it's not doing anything all that spectacular, it's simply sitting there running the game. So, again, that's what we're trying. Sacrix, whatever happened to stretch goals like Heal the World? I still see a lot of in-house art. Well, of course you do. We haven't outsourced it yet. Nor have we said we would yet, because you're still working on the engine, as we are, and still working on lighting, which we are. If we spent a lot of money on art early, and I've said, and I'm sure you've heard me say this before, Sacrix, if we spend a lot of money until we're done with some of those things, then it's money that can end up going down the toilet. You're a gamer. You know that even if you look at the light without looking at the other issues, but if you just look at lighting, that has such an effect on how a texture looks, right? And so until the lighting model is finalized, which since it's one of the items in the top 10-ish, which obviously means it isn't finished, then spending a ton of money on outsourcing art is simply dumb. Sometimes developers do it because they didn't think all the way through it. Sometimes they do it so they can sell things. No, we'll do it once we can say, yep, this is exactly how it looks. We're ready to go, which is one of the reasons we were talking to an outsourcing company, because besides, helping out, with everything from testing to art to engineers, so we expect them to be, hopefully, have a good partnership with them. Jesper T. Hansen, what is Overmind? Overmind is like a scripting system on steroids. It's what controls Ragnarok. It's what controls will control a lot of CU. It is there to do everything from regulate NPCs, to send messages, to work with the day-night cycle, to work with storms, to work with balancing, to work with the Dragon's Web. It's the mastermind. It's the thing that sits in the back and does a lot of controlling things and a lot of sometimes not controlling things. And because it's now, just so you know, you could accomplish some of the same things in straight code, not stuff like Overmind essentially is a giant spreadsheet with some code injections, which can also be read in and then turned into code. The advantage of doing it the way we're doing it is that any of the designers, Ben used that. Now I used it, and I still use it, and Chris uses it, and Alex uses it. We don't have to go to an engineer when we need certain things changed. We can change it ourselves. We can tweak it. It makes iteration so much faster. I mean, so much faster. There is no way that without something like Overmind, something like Ragnarok would have been possible with the amount of work we did on it, because it wasn't that much. Nor would what we want to do with CU be possible as quickly as we can do it with Overmind. Again, the more that you can remove from engineers in terms of tweaking, in terms of moving things around, the faster, a small studio, a smallish studio, can develop a game. Engineers' time, essentially is expensive. It's expensive because, if they're helping you with something as seemingly trivial of changing the damage, from 3d6 to 3d6 plus 2, you're spending time, you're potentially doing builds that they can be doing something else. So, the idea of Overmind is to push something out that people like, we can use, people like us, can use to iterate and integrate faster. And I guarantee you, I don't do that a lot, that this is a big deal. It was a big deal in Ragnarok. It's a big deal here. It's going to be a bigger deal here, quite frankly. As big as it is, for, those games. CU is a much more complicated beast. And, when it comes to tweaking, when it comes to things like realm balance, you want us to be able to react really quickly. And certainly there are ways you can do it, which emulates a script or emulates a spreadsheet, where you can do hot fixes. The fact is, this works really well and is less prone, to designer error, which is great. So Overmind is great. Catching up. Nicholas, hey there. Have you talked to NVIDIA, or have they talked to you about eventually making the game available on GeForce Now? We haven't spoken to them about it. It's a waste of their time and our time until we're further along, but we will. Mumblefish, should we stop using offline building mode altogether now and start using Cube exclusively? I believe that's the case. I certainly believe it's the case. I'm going to mispronounce the names. Apologies in advance. Palmar, Alexandria. What do you think will be the more complicated in the process of creating? What do you think will be the more complicated in the process of creating the crafting system? Oh, I think I know what you mean. No, actually, I don't. I'm sorry. Could you try that again? That's not that. It's not a question. Sacrix, we finally going to get a roadmap promised over a year ago soon. Yep. Josh is anonymous. Where is the progression system in terms of how long we should expect to wait until it's in the game to some degree? And that's why the name of this stream is Progression, Persistence, Performance. The progression system is something that is a focus of us in the upcoming sprint. So yes, there you go. That's why, again, that's why progression. That is a focus for us. Now that we have a 24x3, being able to have some progression in there is kind of sort of an important thing. So it is in this upcoming sprint. Strike, you do need a way to, wait, sorry. That isn't a question to me. That's a discussion between you and Cryptkeeper, so I'll leave you guys to discuss. Migur, I remember you. I haven't tested since the Hammer minigame. God, I love Smackhammer. Our stealth classes fleshed out and in the game yet. Don't forget, stealth classes were not supposed to be in the game until after launch. On the other hand, we are trying to bring in the scouts, before launch. So ahead of the launch date, but obviously later than the game was supposed to launch. So however you want to think about that. Waldmeister, will there be any programming-related streams or videos coming back? I hope so. I'll talk to the guys. I know a couple people have said that, they'd be happy to stream from home. But I want to make sure that, because that's a little different than obviously streaming from the office. Strike, with the new hardware of next-gen consoles, see you on PS5. Nope. Not going to happen, simply because CU is, and this is one of the reasons why, again, Ragnarok is so different from it. Ragnarok is designed, more like a Guild Wars 2. It's a console game. It's something you can play on your gamepad. CU isn't being designed that way. We aren't changing it to make it more console friendly. We're not, period. End of discussion. Not going to happen. Zero chance. I mean, zero chance. We could make the engine work on the consoles, but CU, in order to make CU a console work on the consoles, we would have to make it playable via a controller. And that would be a violation of one of the foundational principles. We don't want to do that. This game is designed for a certain audience. And the audience doesn't want, at least with CU, you may want it with other games because there's no problem with that, a 6-button game or a 3-button game or whatever buttons you have that you consider abilities. We don't want to do that. You don't want us to do that. So Strike, the engine can come on there. Absolutely. Ragnarok and other games from the Final Stand brand will come on there. CU is a PC game, and it's going to remain a PC game. So that's really it. Evers Forge Works, how's the game going? That's what people really want to know. Well, I just read 28 items about everything we did this month. I talked about our 24/3 server working 72 hours, not a crash. So, yeah, it's coming on well. The Jack P, what kind of animation quality are you aiming for release? As good as we can get. I think we keep getting better, and we'll bring in more people, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, so animation quality is sometimes in the eye of the beholder. It doesn't mean there is no such thing as bad animations, because, of course, there are. So we're going to just continue to work. I know this is kind of a wussy answer, but it's true. Right now, the animators have been working to the best extent within the engine. And so this is just an ongoing thing. What else can we give them? What else do we need to do? How can we make it look better? There's nobody on the team who doesn't want the animations, to look great. I mean, nobody, and so this is something we're just going to continue to work on. They're better than they were a year ago, which are better than they were a couple years ago. So I expect this to keep going. GTV1, New World is coming to market in spring 2021, maybe. And I say that not, in a derogatory manner. They've missed deadlines. We all miss deadlines. Look who's talking, right, kids? So, it may be coming in 2021. I assume it. I don't even want to say it. I assume it will. I think so much depends, without going into a lot of detail, because it's almost an hour, and I know I've got a whole bunch of questions that are behind me. A lot depends on how their testing goes. From what I've been reading, they sort of already did a smart thing by pulling it back, and they continue to iterate on it. I think at least I hope they'll release it when it's a great game. Now, will it be spring? I honestly don't know. Is this an advantage for each player after this type game? Oh, I don't know. You can argue it both ways. So, if it's a WoW killer, well, then that would be bad to release after it, right? But I don't think anyone is silly enough to think that any game is going to be a WoW killer. It hasn't happened now in 16 years. And, when you go back to Warhammer, I certainly said many times publicly it was not going to be a WoW killer. Nothing is a WoW killer. Nothing that's come out, nothing I see coming out. But can New World be successful? Absolutely. I mean, look, they're spending a lot of money on the game. Amazon has spent an unbelievable amount of money on the engine. And so, they could be an absolute contender. So, is it better to come out at the same time, before or after? Frankly, I'd rather come out after. Coming out, at the same time is never a smart idea. Unless you're the industry leader, like, WoW was and still is. And coming out too soon, or coming out soon before launch, can end up disrupting your launch. So, look, we have a chance to just make a name for ourselves, and I prefer it to be after, depending when it launches. Like if they delay to 2022 and I could launch, in the fall of 2021, would I do that? Oh, absolutely. So just wanted to say that. Sacrix, now that Ben is gone, will be any more changes to the concept of system design? Well, first, Ben leaving has nothing whatever to do with the core concepts. Ben didn't create them. The core concepts were my creation because Ben hadn't joined the company yet. So, let's keep that in mind. Ben is a great guy. Ben is a great designer. But if you're saying that, oh, he leaves, so there'll be, changes to the core concept, one thing has nothing to do with the other. Again, just if you look at the foundational principles, they're all mine. If you look at, all of these things that you talk about, they're mine. These were concepts that I wrote up. These are things that I worked on. So, please don't conflate the two, because it, makes it seem like, ooh, the guy who, came up with all these things left, which is not true. Ben came up with his own things, but not these. So 10 seconds, hero vision, yes. Air system, yes. Ears, yes. Lack of UI and more visual combat. Not sure what you mean by that, Sacrix. There is a UI, and we said we have to have a robust UI for certain things, like all the buttons that you'll have for your abilities. So I don't know what you mean by that. Floaty runes for magic and class and melee. Well, that's kind of also what I said that I would like way back when. So, could there be changes? Absolutely. But they have nothing to do with Ben leaving. It has to do with, what we feel works, just like the travel and combat stances. Things can always change. But, leaving because somebody, or taking them out just because somebody leaves makes no sense. Josh Taylor. Hey, Josh. Let's see. Lev, you say you have alpha access, but you're not using because you suck at feedback. Play anyway. Check it out for yourself. Don't worry about giving us feedback. Look, we're opening it. Most tests on the weekend now are open to almost everybody, if not everybody. Come in, see how it works. McCavity, do you have regrets aiming for systems like Cube, Air, and Ability Builder? Yes and no. So no, in the sense that they were things that, I thought were important to the game. I thought that Cube gave us a dimension that would make combat and sieges more interesting. Air, oh, I don't regret that at all. We're going to make Air happen. Air is cool. It's not anything that's holding us up at the present time. The Ability Builder, maybe. If I had to do it again, I don't know if I'd put the Ability Builder in there, or at least a more modified one. That might. So if I was going to look back at the things that I would say I might have overreached for, it might be the Ability Builder. Now, I don't think that's the case yet, but it certainly has caused us the most delay, is the ability system. And I'm sorry about that. I thought we could do it. I think, we're in much better shape now. But that would be the one that if I had to do again, if you told me, hey, Mark, you have to take out one thing of the big things you've talked about, frankly, it would probably be the Ability Builder because it's cost us the most time, by far. Of any of the systems and mechanics, of course. I mean, you have to get the servers up and you have to do all that other stuff. But in terms of things, like Cube and Air, Ability System has, been the worst, in terms of, time sucking. Lev, so how about crafting? Yeah, I'm going to get to this in September. Like I said, I've had to spend a lot of time the last few weeks on one-on-ones, performance reviews, hiring. I have more, interviews coming up, next week with people. I'm trying to get, more people to join the studio. So I got to get to it. Chris is taking care of other things first, and then he'll dive into crafting with me. Sacrix, you just asked the question, that I answered. So I think I've answered that question. Signing is stupid. Nice handle. And the progress is indeed looking good. Thank you. I'm going to share, a link to Trivial's latest building, which is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. I wonder, hang on. So, can I share the screen? I think I can. I don't know what performance is going to be like. So tell me, if performance, goes to crap when I do this, and I'll undo it. But let me pull up Trivial's, amazing new building. Give me a second, guys, because I haven't done this, so at least not before. So let me see how this goes. All right. So I'm going down to the end. How's this, guys? Can you see it? Ah, damn it. Are you seeing a blue screen? Nothing? Oh, it says Restream is sharing my stream, and it looks like it's sharing on my screen. Hang on. How about now? All right, here we go. Hey, now I know how to do this. This is Cube, baby. This is Cube, this is the engine, and this is Trivial. I mean, look at this. This is great. I mean, is that awesome? I mean, look, I know when I say things like that, that's part, we get credit for that. But the fact is, we get some credit for that. But the fact is, that's also what he did. I mean, that's just an amazing, bit of work. Okay, so now I'm catching up. So if you post a message now, I'm going to be catching up with it eventually. So if I don't answer, I'm not ignoring you. I am just going back to 447 and catching up with Alexander, who explains what he means because I was too dumb to understand it. What would be the most complicated thing about creating the crafting system? So, in terms of crafting, from our perspective, it's how to make it different, how to make it good, how to not make it, a carpal tunnel fest, but still how to make it useful. And so a lot of time has been spent on that. A lot of thought has gone into it. And, I think that when we smooth out the process of going from raw material, to finished goods, I think we'll have something that, you crafters are really going to love it. I think it is something that will be, or a system that will be considered a great crafting system. I would love it to be considered one of the best crafting systems. But, look, time will tell. Crypt Keeper. Well, what will the in-game currency be called? Will it be possible to be rich? Well, of course. Tenzente, did you call GW2 a console game? No, I was just talking about console games with things that at times, feel different than the kind of game we're making. Camelot Chain is supposed to be like the old school MMOs. GW2 is not an old school MMO. Console games are not old school, MMOs. Anything you can play on a controller is not going to feel the same as Day Up. And in terms of insulting GW2, I love GW2. I talk about it all the time. Just look at my old, any video I did where I talked about why I got back into making an MMO. It was actually because of Guild Wars 2. I think Guild Wars 2 was a great MMO. I loved it. I played it. I played a lot of it. So no, I did not call it a console game. If I did, I certainly misspoke. I was trying to compare what we have with Ragnarok and, CU and how it's different from certain more modern games and different from console games. The key for us, as Crypt Keeper said, lots and lots of buttons. Jax Jags 2100. Do you worry about scope creep? No, not at all. Because we're not doing it. Not at all. Again, you saw, if you've seen the last time we did a stretch goal, you could see that we have not had any scope creep. That is the least of my worries. It really is. Peter, how complicated is CU make compared to Dea? More complicated, far more complicated. And that's not because, just of the fact that the world has changed since, 2001 and players' expectations have changed. It's because we have to build our own engine. When we made Dayak, the rendering engine, of course, was the Netimers engine, later Gamebryo. And so that's a huge difference. The other thing is, when we made Dayak, we pulled together a lot of code that we had used in our other online games, as well as one of Denton's, muds, or Denton's only mud. He made one, right, just one. I made a couple. Well, 2.5 to be technical. So it's more difficult, a lot more difficult. Odovic, oh, hey there. Will Overmind be static between servers, or might Overmind adapt based on player interactions with each server? So if you mean will it talk to other servers, the answer is no. Will it adapt based on players' interactions? The answer is yes, but not in an AI way, just in a very simple you don't want to call it AI because in AI it's supposed to be developing in itself. We would just essentially use more of a state machine approach to it. So it would adapt, but only if it was how it was programmed to adapt. Sacrix. EU server tests nearly all other games in development through up an EU-based server. This was promised even before beta. Why hasn't this not happened yet? Because there's no point. We're waiting, as we've said in the past, to have a server that's up for a long time. We do have time differences, obviously, and they're significant. So, for us, if we put it up in the middle of the day and are supposed to have a true server test on it, then as we've had happen, we have to respond, we have to watch it. Over the weekend, we don't. So once we're fine with the 24/3, we're going to go and put up a server. And I believe I've said this in the past, where I know I've said to you and others that once we get a really stable server and that we can leave up, now I didn't say over the full weekend, but that we can leave up, a day, we can start doing tests. The other thing is we had to be sure once we migrated, from Amazon to GCP, that was the highest priority in terms of servers. It makes no sense to have to do with two complications, we're moving to GCP and at the same time we're trying to figure out how to then run on Europe with the servers until we fully understand the GCP stack. So yes, no, we are absolutely going to do that. Absolutely. Nothing has changed. Druge, better way to word it. Are you still working on crafted design this 90 days? Absolutely. I'm going to get to it now. I mean, that's what I want to do this month. Next month, September. It's the end of August for another, 6 hours plus. Josh is anonymous. Has Chris Jr. gotten up to speed yet? On some things. He's working in Overmind. He's looking at the classes. He's not working on crafting yet. Diminished returns. When can we expect the refunds to come through? As soon as I can get back in the office. And if I can't get back the whole office in there, I'll start going in once it looks like it's safe, just for a little bit, on the weekends and get some done. But as some of the, one thing to keep in mind, my nervousness continues to be justified by reports of how the stuff can move through air systems if the filters aren't, cleaned properly and other things. And I'm just not taking chances. I'm just not. And the same goes true for, offices throughout Virginia. So, unfortunately, our state continues to always be in the top half of states in terms of new cases, usually in there in deaths as well. And we have a great beach area that people are already and will go to, next week. And that's what I'm worried about. So, I can promise you, and I haven't promised anything with the refunds, other than that they will be paid, is that, if everything goes well and things don't explode in cases, I'll start going in for a few hours, on the weekends to get some of them done. Moving through, catching up slowly. Lev, will there be more races for the Vikings? Yes, there will be. In terms of the Dark Elves, that is something we are working on, as a matter of fact. Just catching up. Intrinsic Palamedes, just make crafting like GW crafting, not like Dayak. Yeah, Dayak, it was certainly a great crafting system for the time, but it's a different time. And so I agree with you. That's one reason, for example, I said I don't want to do, the kind of carpal tunnel inducing crafting system that Dayak was, and other games of its time were. This crafting system is not that guaranteed. I wrote it. So I can tell you it is not meant, and people who were there on the Kickstarter certainly remember it, it was not and isn't supposed to be something that you spend a ton of time creating tons of items. That's not how it works. I've done things, with the design to minimize the time that you have to create the same thing again and again and again and again, or just so you don't think it's developer speak, or anything else for that matter. So it's, oh no, I only have to make one arrow, but then I have to make another red arrow, then a blue arrow, and a green arrow, and then a yellow-green arrow, and then a green-yellow arrow, and then a red-blue-green arrow. And you see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to go down that path at all. Greek fighter, 7 years for this. No, 7 years for the engine that can do something that no other engine in the world can do. Thanks very much. Latrine, speaking of crafting, during which phase of beta will we see material nodes? That's something I'm going to be discussing, as well now, this month with Chris, when I can get back to crafting. Oh, hey, Taz, I'm glad you understand. Yeah, like I said, I love Guild Wars 2. I wasn't a huge fan of their RVR, and I even talked about that in our Kickstarter. But the game itself, I adored it. Played it so many hours. So many hours. McCavity, since the Ability Builder has already given you a lot of issues. By the way, 15-minute warning, folks. I will be breaking this up at 5:30 my time. Since the Ability Builder has already given you lots of issues, and there will always continue to be balancing issues, what would it take for you to decide to scrap it entirely? It's really simple, and it really is. That it turns out not to be fun. The beauty of it is even if we scrapped it, we don't scrap it. That's one of the good things about it, and one of the things why I was confident that we could do it. So if you look at pre-made abilities, those are, those can be built out of components. So if we just build the abilities, pre-build the abilities, and don't use the component system to build them, so you don't have to use the component system to build them, we still use the system. ICOM TG, will this game ever release? Yes, it will. Read so much negative stuff on Reddit and Twitter. Well, look, a lot of the stuff on negative stuff on Twitter, and certainly on Reddit, is being driven by the delays, which people have a right to be angry for, about, and then people are angry about the refunds and are trashing us, and trashing me at the same time. There's also people there who lie about things, and that's look, that's their choice. They lie about whether we're even making the game, and that progress is slow, and that we're putting everything into Ragnarok. And, I've heard all of it, and all we do is prove them wrong every month. Every single month. Big updates. No, you guys have seen no major updates to Ragnarok. We've been doing what I promised we would do, is do, things that benefit both games, all the engine work, and make the changes that, we do need to make for that as well. But there hasn't been a lot. It's been really small, because there were the things that were a challenge there were things, that we're working on for both games. Again, server stability. Things like the timeout, was an issue here, it was an issue there. So we're doing all the things we said we were going to do, and we are doing them really well as a 24x3 test, a test. So MMORPG fan, yeah, I get it. Be hopeful by the end of the year. See what we've done, because by then, if we've got obviously servers that are running now, whether 24x7, 24x3, 24x7, whatever, that's something to be hopeful about. Second, do we have progression in it? Does it look like the system is actually going to work progression-wise, that we're going down a good path. Is crafting it? Do you have the ability to play something that feels like a game? It's not the final game, but does it feel like a game? How's performance? Is the engine able to keep up with what it needs to do? So look, we've got, the next 90 days, we'll give you a good feel, and then, a couple weeks before we shut down for the end of the year, as we always do for Christmas, or the holiday season, or whatever. So, then you can see if you like the progress. I mean, I'm thrilled with a lot of the progress. Are some things taking longer? They always do. As people have talked about in the stream today, New World, multiple delays, huge budgets. We've got a fraction of that, absolute fraction. And we're making lots of progress. So, I understand, again, I absolutely understand, why people are, either not hopeful or angry or disappointed. But the thing is, we just keep going. We keep spending, we keep developing. So, it's up to people how they want to interpret that. Other games shut down. Other games, other devs, give up. We haven't. Don't intend to. And is what Trivial just showed you, or I showed you through Trivial's fantastic work, to be technical, we can put a building together. You can put a building together, and we can show it, and it just works, which is a really good thing, because that is part of the game. So, Yinger, the Dark Elves you mentioned, the new, Frost Alpha, could be. But actually, we're in beta, not in alpha. Sorry. Bad Groucho Marx joke. Worse in imitation. Bughole, crafting should be easy in the sense that you get the mats and then craft all and it does it. No, it shouldn't be that easy. That's WoW. And look, I liked WoW. Still like WoW. WoW, not new WoW. Classic WoW. But it shouldn't be that easy. And, if you want to be a crafter and you want to have an impact on the things you craft and not have the same item that everyone else has, it's got to be a little more than that. Mumblefish, if all the realms get giants, will all the realms get small races like TDD? Yes, indeed, they will. Jax, I love the community in Dayak. I haven't had that in any game since. Same with you, Dark Society. Thank you. I agree. Sacrix, have you been staying safe with all the riots and crazy stuff going on? Yeah, I mean, so far Virginia is relatively quiet. I've been around a couple of the, Black Lives Matter protests, and, everyone, at least so far, is keeping cool here. They're protesting, which is their right, and, supported 100% as long as they're peaceful. And I mean 100%. Just be peaceful. And there's stuff going on in D.C., which is not so good. So we'll see what happens. I think we really, as a society, I mean, if you look how I ended one of my pieces, Sacrix, when are we ever going to learn? I guess gets me very frustrated. Oh, and by the way, Sacrix, thank you for asking. Much appreciated. Sincerely. A few years ago, HDR was ruled out, having eventually picked up an HDR monitor. Might the decision to rule out high def be looked at again based on the advances in player monitors and cards? Anything is possible. Strike, have you thought about implementing ways to share ability builder builds? Absolutely. I mean, that was something I talked about, way back when, in terms of map making, building, discovery. So yes. Nick Kerr, to this day, I've never been shit talked. to like the 12-year-olds from Mordred. Yeah, I know what you mean. Bendogs, thank you for the great update. Rick said Dayak was in the top 2 games he composed. Absolutely true. Would it be possible in the future to bring him on board if everything went well? We'll see. We have our own guys doing pretty well, doing great as a matter of fact. BD is awesome. Rick is awesome. I mean, Rick, Rick came through when we needed him to come through, and he came through as a generous, and talented guy. So we really appreciate it. Tetrahelix, New World, has been in development for like 3 years, I believe. That doesn't count the engine. I don't know when they actually started New World, unless you're on that team. You don't know. And I don't mean I'm not being, sarcastic, snarky, angry. Just no one knows unless you were on the team. But the engine development has been going on since they brought the Cry engine. So you're absolutely, you may be absolutely right that they were working on it 3 years, but the engine team is a totally different team. And as you probably know, they spent $75 million to buy the engine from Crytek, and then have had multiple iterations on it with a very big team. So, it's if you want to compare apples to apples, you have to factor that in because we're making our own engine too. Jags, good night. Good night. Thank you. Larcheween, now with the 24. I keep seeing 20. Let's see, 24 by 3 and put the 3 before the 4. Now with 24 by 3 servers, are you concerned that logging concentration will be spread too thin to produce the stress test? Yeah, absolutely. So that's where we're going to have the 24 by 3 to test something. And then we, as I wanted to do, before Ben obviously gave his notice, I wanted to look at some other scenario that could concentrate people more than the battleground we were working on did. So I really, really want to have something like that so we can focus people more. Elzik, rather than talk about easy, difficult crafting, I'm looking forward to the engagement and fun of crafting. I think that will be important to test that in a gameplay loop. Oh, it's not important. It's crucial. I mean, it's crucial to get all of this in a full loop, run it for days and days and days. That's the plan. It's always been the plan. It's taken a long time, but we're getting close to that plan. Look, the crafting system already. The man. Buy the man. Crafting's already on paper in a really good state. I'm going to take some of this month, time permitting, I'll find it, to get back to it and work with Chris on it. But it's deep. Well, depending on how you look at things. It's not broad, but it is deep. So I was right. Sorry, it's almost time. I'm starting to get talked out. It's very deep in the sense that you've got a lot of things you can affect. These things that you affect then affect other things. So, depending on what choices you make, obviously not only the materials, but what you do afterwards will affect the bonuses to your gear. It will affect the health, essentially, of the gear. It will affect the weight of the gear, all sorts of things, all the resistances. So it's something that you will have a lot of fun figuring out and then hopefully creating. The question is, and it's always the question around crafting these days, should it feel more like a mini game, or should it be, as the backer suggested, put it in, hit a button, and off it goes? So that's something that I'm certainly going to get more feedback on. I have not designed it with a mini game in mind. There are some dials and knobs, but not in the sense of, oh look, you got to play a Connect 3 game. No, it wouldn't be that. It would be, okay, now watch this level, what are you going to do? So, but again, not in the sense of a mini game, but actually in terms of functionality. Combat Sat, what was Ben's biggest meta shift in this game's concept and development? None. Metashift. Metashift would imply that I changed the foundational principle, and I have not. The biggest conflict Ben and I ever had about design was the whole RNG versus no RNG. He's on the no RNG side, I'm on the mixed RNG side, meaning that you should have some, but it shouldn't be all RNG. So, no, the metagame, there has been no metagame shift. The metagame, if you look at the things that we've talked about here, that's all me, in terms of the design, the big picture. That's always what I've done. The Dragon's Web is my idea. Now, again, as I've said about the web, it's not, super original. I'm like New World has said, we're going to be the first action combat game. No, actually you're not. There were other action combat MMOs. But, so it's not like, oh my God, the Dragon's Web, it's amazing. Nobody's ever had anything like it. No, not at all. But it was something that, I've been pushing for and that I wrote up the design for. So there hasn't been a meta shift with Ben leaving. Ben is great. I miss him. Who knows? Maybe he'll come back. And that would be lovely. Have another designer to join the team. I actually have some of the people I've actually been interviewing for the senior producer job also ask, hey, can I contribute on design? And my answer is always yes. Yeah, feel free. Love to hear what you say. But so yeah, no meta shift. Definitely, again, difference between RNG and non-RNG. And, the only other shift really is just that, we've changed out, designers, who designers like engineers, like people, just are different from each other. And they have different ways of doing things and they have different opinions on things. So, if we did a meta shift just after Ben left, that would be really, really bad. That would be an indication that something went deeply disturbingly wrong while Ben was here. That is so not the case. So not the case. Floyd Spoon, are the number of projected players on release on par with server capabilities? I could say yes, but you never know who's going to show up. The nice thing is that, if we do a lot on the cloud as we plan on, it won't be a problem. Strike. Okay, I'm going to answer, I may be able to catch up. If I can't catch up, I'll look for one question. Strike. As you probably heard, the new standard for game development on quadruple A games, replacing the old standard. At what level I don't know. First of all, the quadruple versus triple versus double versus single. Look, these are all things that are as flexible, as your average piece of rubber. That people use them differently. It's like, look, I'm the guy responsible for the whole Alpha 1 and Beta 1 thing that people bitched at me about for Dark Age. So flexible, they are. We're certainly not going to be a AAA by any standard, because AAA, if you go just by cash, and there are all sorts of estimates, we would have to spend a hell of a lot more money. Dark Age, even for the day, wouldn't be considered a AAA game. So, look, the key for this game is not, whether it would fall into a AA category, a single A category, a AAA category. All that matters is it's fun. Is it something that you enjoy playing? So that's what we are hoping to do. Tetrahelix. Oh, okay. Didn't know. I thought you were comparing it. And yeah, but look, and in all fairness, New World, the Lumberyard engine, the renderer, because it is Cry, it looks great. They've made their own unique choices with how they want the game to look. And from what I've seen of the streams, they've done that really well. CryEngine was beautiful. It was the best. At the time, the debate between the engine, developers was always, oh, Cry looks better than Unreal. Well, Unreal looks better than Cry. No, Cry. And back and forth it went. And I always thought Cry, looked a bit better, and you could do more, and they were making better looking games. But that doesn't mean you really couldn't do that on Unreal. You just, people might not have made the choice to, but I wasn't making a game then with Unreal or Cry, so I couldn't tell you. But New World's engine, the Lumberyard engine, looks good. The question is going to be the back end. So we'll see. Strategamo, hey, look, the bottom line. Wow. So the thing is, I can't log in and do what you're saying I can do. I've said this time and time again, every single time. All the information is on a server that's not connected to the internet, not connected to our internal network, not connected to anything. Yes, I could log into my PC, but the information I need is not on my PC. It's that simple. I have a separate PC which contains some of the information I need. I don't need to use it for every, refund, but I don't know that until I go into the refunds. Do I have to use it a lot? Yeah, kind of, sort of. So that's all it is. It's really simple. I have all that information, the stuff from way back when, the stuff that I can't get, for example, from PayPal anymore. I can't moment. It's really that simple, and that's the only thing that's holding it up. And a follow-up question that I'm sure you or somebody else will ask is, why don't you bring it home? And that's the thing. I am not. That's where it's staying. That's the only thing that's holding us up, period. So, can I log in? Could I log into VPN and get some information? Absolutely. But that's not how I'm doing things. I've kept that information safe. It changed. If it hadn't been for GDPR, this would not have happened. And yes, I'm blaming GDPR, but GDPR started out and probably still is a good idea. And it made people, companies, be, even more careful with the data. And we were careful. Now we're even more careful. That's it. It's really that simple. Mezzerto. Thanks for the update. +1 for minimal RNG. Strike. Yeah, I did think, Crytek did look better. They always managed to make such pretty games. The CryEngine. Crytek made the CryEngine. And New World is obviously using that engine, so it's going to look good. Helzik, you're absolutely right. Machine gaming, I could, but masks aren't 100% unless you have, the real, true PPE, the N95 stuff, and I don't have it. And, as soon as I go in, guaranteed, the second thing I'll do, getting other things, one thing first might be any mail, though we have somebody who's doing that, goes in, gets the mail, does the bills, leaves the office as quickly as possible. As soon as I can do that, I'm going to do it. Look, I don't like not doing it. I don't like that. I don't. I don't like what's being said. I don't like personal attacks. Who does? But I am going to just take the default position of not dying and not taking that risk. And if I was asking anybody else to go in and stay in the studio, go in, run an errand, come out, great. If I was asking anyone to do that, then I would be a hypocrite. I'm not. I've told the entire team, stay home. In Virginia, one guy goes in because he doesn't want to work from home. That's his choice. And frankly, he really can't. That's a choice he's made. No one from Seattle is working in the office. So until I am willing to make that choice for myself and for the team, I'm not going in. It's really that simple. So, nothing more complicated. Oh, okay. So here's a good end of the, two questions. The first easy one, thanks for the update, MJ from Ortowine. Did you say there'll be a mid-month stream? I certainly hope there will be. I like doing them. Just a matter about, how it fits in time-wise. Combat Sack. Oh, thank you. No, it's only 5:30 here, though. I don't usually eat dinner with Lady J until 7 or beyond. But Strike gets the last question of the day. So you talked about giants being actually big and crushing in walls. Yeah, it's cool. I wondered, do you fix the problem of them not fitting in regular houses? No, you have to fix that, Strike. It's simple. Make a hole big enough for you to get into. Because, yeah, that's, obviously how you're going to have to do that. If a giant tries to enter a house that they can't fit in, then that's what they have to do. You're not going to be able to fit, in things that they won't be able to fit into unless they smash it. And that's part of it. I mean, it's a trade-off. And let me just cut off and I'll finish this. Strati Gamo, you're welcome. And I always try to man up. I do. And I'm sorry, it's not a better answer. I really am sorry. If I was going in, I would be a liar, and I'm just not. Anyone who's on the team can tell you that. On both sides of the coast, we're just not going in. But as soon as we go in, I promise you, absolutely promise you, that I will start catching up, on the refunds. That is a guarantee, and I don't make them very often. And so it is what needs to be done. And, I am hoping. Yeah, be tied. Oh, here we are again. Yes, I went in for a grand total of about 20 minutes. That's it. I said that then. I went in, got mail. First time, got mail. Second time, went in, got mail. Well, actually, reverse that. First time, went in, got mail. Did a couple of refunds for people. This was in March. This was not April. And that needed to be done. One was, very late, very, 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 very late. And then I had something else I had to get done. And then the second time I went in, picked up some stuff, and went home. So that's all it was. That was in March, B-Tide. I haven't been in the office since then, since March. So anyway, back to giants. So, if, giants have to get into a house, that's going to be one of the problems, No, I wasn't there the week prior. Yeah, if I was, it was there again to pick up something. I don't remember. Was I in June to pick up more paperwork? I don't remember, honestly. I go in to pick up paperwork every so often. So that's it. I mean, honestly, man, you can, and yes, people do care. And I gave you the answer. So, so that's the thing with the giants. You're going to have that trade-off. Now, because you're a giant, you also have the advantage of size. You're going to have the disadvantage of hitboxes. You're going to be easier to hit. You are going to have greater stats. There are things that are, though, on the other hand, like I said, that are going to be a trade-off for you. So you won't be able to fit in some buildings. Absolutely. Once you grow, that is something that you won't be able to do. You want to be a giant? That's what the deal is. Saying if you want to be, a Lucapan, they're on the other side. You're going to be smaller. Your stats are going to be different. That's all part of it. That is the trade-off. That is the no hand-holding. That is what we've talked about, from the beginning, and we're carrying through with that. That won't change. So, I think you're going to like, that trade-off. And, for people who don't, then it's don't play the race. It's that simple. Same with classes. If you don't like the class, don't play the class. And it's the same with the races. We want choices, as we said from the beginning, to have consequences. And, that's what we're going to do. And so, yeah, some of them, are going to be happy. Some of them will be unhappy choices. But, if you're going out and trying to make a non-hand-holding game, that's what you do. And we've said that from the beginning, so that's what we're doing. It's really that simple. So look, folks, again, thank you all so much. Thanks for your support. B-Tide, his betrayal game. That's right. Yes, once again, come on in like you do almost every week and, Denarian and do the same thing you do and do on Reddit. So, I'm sorry that you don't have the better things to do with your time. I really am, especially the whole betrayal game nonsense. Oh, that's extortion. Thank you. No, the criticism wouldn't stop. You guys, criticized it right from the beginning, and you're going to continue to criticize it. So it doesn't matter. You'll get your money back like everyone else will. But if you keep coming into, if you come in here and you, like you've been doing, whether it's you or sock puppets at times, and disrupt the stream and be rude to people in the stream, you're not helping. You're not helping your cause one bit. Because no matter what you say here, all you're going to do is just not make it better. And it's never, going to speed it up for you, ever. I do everything according, to the rules. It's really that simple. And the rules are, when I go back in, I'm going to pay the refunds according to people, when they came in. That wasn't a rule. They said, we try to make it. We try to get it done. So, look, you just keep, you're doing what you're doing, and, we're just doing what we're doing, which is making a game. We're making games, and, it's really that simple. And I'm really happy that we're doing what we're doing. I'm happy that I've kept faith with the backers. I'm happy that I've even kept faith with people like you. Because we haven't turned off refunds. We haven't done anything like that. We've just delayed them until I can go back in the office. So that's it. No, I have kept faith with you because I haven't turned off the refunds. I've just delayed them. Like things are delayed all the time. Do people break faith if they delay a game? Is that a breaking of faith? Or because of things that are going on, are things delayed? Whether it's with us or anyone else? Is that breaking faith? No. So anyway, this is just the same thing you do every stream. And, whatever. Like I said, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. The studio will keep doing what we're doing. And, you'll keep, trashing us like you've been trashing us since the day the game was announced. And saying very, both at times inaccurate, at times cruel, and some people, since, some people, they lie. So, no, I told you what I told you. I haven't stayed in the office any period longer than 20 minutes. I've run in, gone things. And I come out. Yeah, I can, because it's the same. I can lump you in with other people because you're all saying the same thing. You're saying, I need to pay them right now. Some of you saying, I don't care what happens to you, or Lady J, I don't care about you getting sick. It's that simple. Well, I care, and I care about people like you as well, which is why, again, refunds will be paid once I get back into the office. No excuses, they'll be paid. And that's how I'm keeping faith. So, Drew, yeah, it is getting there. He said testing this weekend was close to being fun, getting there. A few more bits like progression is going to start being addicted. And like strike, yeah. And old Vic, you're right. I know I am feeding the trolls, but the thing is, if I don't at least respond, then people can say, "Oh, Mark's just ignoring them." I mean, that's what people do in a lot of these streams. Not on my streams, on the other streams, where they ignore people. And look, in B-Tide's case, he has a point, and I agree with it. The point is we haven't paid refunds. So I do address it. Because I think it would be wrong of me not to. And, you know, he can, I know, say whatever he wants about, well, it's wrong what you're doing now. But the fact is, if you don't at least say something, then you are trying to avoid it. I've never tried to avoid that sort of thing. You know, I've never tried. If somebody's going to, you know, criticize or, you know, even in the stream, sometimes say, you know, things that are negative. If it's something I can answer or can address, I will try to answer it because it's part of, you know, as the other guy who was here, you know, earlier said, it's part of, you know, manning up. It's part of being, you know, responsible, and you know. And I will do it, and I will always do it. It's really that simple, you know. So yeah. B-Tide, man, I totally understand the frustration, and I'm good with that frustration. I said the same thing on the forums. I understand why people are frustrated. I guarantee you, no matter how frustrated you are, I am more frustrated. Okay, and I'm not just frustrated about the refunds. I'm frustrated of not being able to go to the office. I'm frustrated of not being able to see the people that I've been seeing for years. I'm frustrated by not being able to do the things I was able to do when I was in the office. This, for me, is not, you know, the best situation, just like it isn't for the office. So I cannot say enough how deeply apologetic I am. I've apologized multiple times for that. You know, I have. So, you know, and I've even said to you that, and others, that if I could push a button and refunds would be done, that would be great. So I do understand it. I really do understand it. And, you know, as soon as I do, I will. I mean, it's that simple. As soon as I can, I will go in. You know, as soon as I think it's safe. So I do really, really understand, which is why, as you know, and this will be the last thing I'll say, you know, if I didn't understand the frustration, I would either turn off the refunds, period, say no more refunds, we're done. Or I would, you know, take action, you know, by, you know, banning accounts permanently and saying, hey, you've been a dick, no refunds. I haven't done any of that. So as mad at me as you are, and some people are, and I get it, the fact is I haven't done any of that because I do understand the frustration, and you know, and I can support it as much as I can. So that's it, you know, and I hope you understand that, because I'm not trying, you know, to do anything other than deal with the same crappy situation most of us, unless you're in Iceland and a couple other countries, are dealing with. And that's the problem. So, look, I really do understand it, and I'll apologize again, you know, but you know, we are all coping in a very, very changed world. And I'm doing what I need to do to minimize the chance that any of my family dies. And it's really that simple. So that is the last apology. And I do understand. I really do. So I'll leave it at that. Well, since I've gone way over, let's get another good question and leave this on a good, you know, a happy note. Palmyri, Warhammer Online was your favorite MMO. Thank you. God, I wish I had another year. God, I wish they gave me the year I wanted. I would have taken 6 months. And Odovic, I'm done. I made my points. Strike. How interactive do you want? Here's a good question. Yeah, perfect. Right, Doc? Yeah, perfect. So how interactive do I want the map to be? Show enemy forces, mining rods, so smart. Great. Let's talk about fun things at 10 the stream. So, if you think of the map, and I've said this before, so I'm sure you've heard it. I want it to be a living map. It's a term I used way back when, obviously, with Warhammer. And I think it fits this game. Scouts are part of the system, essentially. Scouts should be able to find things, report them, and have updated maps that can be relayed through magic to other people. So in the perfect world, that's what the Scouts are doing. Yeah, there's Strike going, map interactors will play a key role for Scouts, I would assume. Yes, your assumption is right. Ding, 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 ding. You're absolutely right. So yeah, the idea is you go out, you look for things, you go through things, you do what you need to do, and you report back. Now, Brian, I've answered what was your question about high def, like I had answered a few moments ago? Oh, widescreen. Yeah, I've said that before. Sorry. I have absolutely said that before. Look, you can already, add different modes in theory. We can. But, we will absolutely get to that. But performance has to be, I know the trade-off, performance has to be good enough, but you say, hey, I have a great card and a rig. Got it. So yes, absolutely. So back to the map. So the idea should be that maps, like everything else, should change, but not because the game tells you. Because that not only is a little hand-holdy, but it violates one of the principles of the game. Yeah, I know, Drew, kind of, sort of. And so that's one of the reasons that Scouts have a purpose, is for them to go out, for them to do things, for them to, be, the kind of help that they, want to be. And, whether that, again, is going in and flitting in between, the spaces between blocks. Whether that is being able to send, messages back, via magic to other players, their use on the Dragon's Web, or with the Dragon's Web, excuse me. So, Scouts are supposed to be really, really interesting, classes. Like, I'd like to say that, obviously, about all of our classes, but it's more than just your ability to fight as a Scout, right? You should be able to do something that helps the war effort other than killing somebody. And that's why if you go back to, when I first started talking about, stealth, and that I had a different way I thought of doing it, I think that there is a really good example there, Strike, that you can, as a stealth using class, essentially, even though it's the Veil, you're going to be able to contribute to the game in ways other than sitting by a bridge, waiting for some poor passerby or buys, to come by and to kill them. So you're supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to be able, to be that, advanced guard that is telling people what to do and also doing a role of sabotage. The Dragon's Web, since you were here, pet classes, Ben, first and foremost, when I'm happiest. If you listen to the stream again and you look at the items that I cited, or when we put the update out that I cited, you see some of the names there of items from the web, and that's going to be important, right? Those and others are super important to the whole concept of the web. And so having a scout that can go and do some things to it, um, that's a kind of useful thing, like really useful. Because, now it's not a question of, or just a question of, well, as a stealther, I can only contribute by picking off, the weak ones. No, you're not. You're contributing in ways with a scout that doesn't have to do with, again, just looking for somebody. Yeah, Charles. Yeah, I know, camping bridges. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it in other ways. So for the people who like the idea of a scout class, I mean, a real scout class, a ranger class where it's not, well, I can just do this and I can shoot people from very, very far away and I can all do these other things, but, it tends to blur the lines. I want the scouts to really feel like a scout, to really feel like they're contributing in a way differently than they contribute, in so many games. The idea of stealthers, not the idea of a scout, of course. And so I'm hoping that, that will work the way that I want it to. And if so, then we're going to have a really cool class that's going to do things very differently than most, if not all, other games that have used stealth. And I don't know the answer because I don't know every MMO in the world. And I think that some of our stealthers will like that a lot, like a real lot. So, hopefully that's how it's going to work out. All right. Lex, when the heck are Alpha going to have access? Lex, you've had access. Oh boy, did you not get any emails? So the servers are up on the weekends, and they're open to everybody at times. But you're Alpha. You're the second highest access tier. So you should be. My God, you should have been in tons of tests this summer. Were you not getting? Wait for an update from you or a message here. Did you not get any of the emails? Waiting for a response. There he is. Oh, not seeing any. If you don't mind, how long have you been a backer? Because if you've been a backer if you joined us in the last few months, one of the other problems is because I can't go into the office end of last year. No, you should have been on the list then. One of the other problems about not going into the office is I can't update certain lists because I can't go into the office to run, the numbers. That's weird. So Lex, what you should do is you go onto the forums on a Friday in the morning or in the afternoon. No matter what, we'll always have a post there about the servers and the weekend test. So yeah, the idea is we're up 24 by 3 on the weekends. Alphas again, second highest access. So you're in almost every single weekend test. The only times you wouldn't be open, or it wouldn't be open for Alpha. I mean, I don't even remember the last time, even on a weekend, we ran a test for IT only. So yeah, welcome to the game. Welcome to the game. You'll be in, on the weekend and see the progress we've been making. And you'll be, hopefully you'll like what you see. And a lot more stuff coming in, over the remainder of this year. And if you've been here for a lot of the presentation, you've heard about Giants, you've heard about Dragon's Web, you've heard about crafting, you've heard about other things, hopefully more people joining us soon. So yeah, it's a great update. It's a happy update. And yeah, that's it. So look, once again, thank you everybody for who showed up. Even thank you to the people who aren't, happy with us. I understand that again. But thank you for those who are. Thanks all of you who've been patient for any reason being patient. I do, and we all do appreciate it a lot. We are making, yeah, it is getting dark. We are making really good progress. You can see it, you can play it, and more progress is coming. You know, and I was about to tell you something. I'll wait a few weeks to tell you something else. But let's see. I want to see what happens. But I think it's going to be a fun fall. I think it's already getting to be a fun fall. Will soon be getting to be a fun fall once we get progression in. And, you know, we've got a lot of other cool things planned. And I don't mean long-term planned. I mean short-term planned. You know, you're seeing it already. You're seeing the Dragon's Web on the back end coming to life really quickly. You're seeing giants in the game. You're seeing now that great work by Trivial. So, you know, you are seeing lots and lots of stuff going in, and you see the attention that the team is putting on to see you. So thank you all again. You have a good rest of your day or night. And look, I'll see you in September, next couple weeks. So take care, everyone. And as always, please, 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 please stay safe and uninfected. Don't take chances if you don't have to. And as I always have been saying again, since this whole thing started, please try to be kind to each other. It sucks. It's hard. And all of us, or almost all of us, you know, are having issues. So, you know, please try to be kind if you can. Okay, so that's it. And I'll see you folks next couple weeks. Bye.